Hello everyone and welcome to the Club's HQ. So finally, like every year, the new FIFA title is here and a lot has changed on the old gen, PC and of course new gen. New gen has hyper motion engine running the game, so some new animations are there and obviously the graphics are better as well. A lot of positive changes are made by EA for FIFA 22 and old gen as well. However, of course, the mechanics across the old gen consoles, PC and new consoles are pretty much the same. Thankfully, I cannot believe that the day has come where I'm able to say with good confidence that EA decided to make some really good and needed changes and improvements to pro clubs. Thank you so very much, EA. We are happy to see some respect towards the best mode the game has. Now, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to help you in your pro club's journey this year. So this video is kind of a basic walkthrough for you guys to save some time and give you some basic tips on how to get started. First off, if you guys are returning players of FIFA 21 Pro Clubs, you should automatically get the option to import your Pro from 21. It will only import the visual and the physical aspects, not your stats. We are going to look at the menu to understand how the skill tree has changed, what skill sets behave different now as compared to FIFA 21, and how each attributes affect your game this FIFA. At the time of recording this video, I have already played more than 150 games in league, drop-ins and some friendlies. So with that experience, I'll help you understand how these attributes have changed in the skill tree. I'm not going to talk about archetypes as they just sort of boost the attributes if you decide to spend your skill points on them. Alright, the first attribute in the skill tree is physical. Now the first thing that you will notice here is that unlike before, your stamina stats are really low depending upon your build. Now 65 stamina would never be enough back in FIFA 21, quite sure of it, but now it surprisingly works. You don't really need to spend much in stamina in the beginning. Also there is a perk which gives you a second win trait like 21, but that unlocks in level 23. If you're a defender, you should put your skill points on aggression as it helps your defensive player to have a higher reach before he gets locked to the ball, make an automatic tackle or even blocking a player and a few other advantages as well. Next up is strength. As a forward, forget about this. You don't need it. Now you may think that the defenders or AI is just bullying you on the ball and pushing you away. Well, that's not all because of the strength. Stay tuned and I'll tell you in the next few minutes what is the attribute that you need to minimize those problems. The last one here is reactions. Whether as a forward, midfielder, defender or goalkeeper, this stat is very crucial. Now there are two benefits of it. Reactions decide how fast can your player position himself to receive the ball and make the next pass or any other command that you want him to follow. Have you guys noticed how slow your pro is sometimes when he's on the ball? He takes ages to turn, react to the opponent player pressing and make a simple pass. Well, it's mainly because of reactions. The second benefit is in any loose ball situations where the ball is just loose and both the teams have their players near the ball, higher reactions decide how fast you will lock onto the ball and approach it. Okay, so that's about reaction. Keep these in mind. Now we are in defending. Well, we have interceptions here. I don't need to tell you what that is. Also, interceptions are pretty good this year, so you would definitely want to have some of the stats inclined towards this attribute. Then we have defensive awareness, which isn't going to help you a hell lot unless you are playing any and your pro is a defender and AI is taking control of it every now and then. However, if you are playing as a defender, this stat will help you to contain the attackers and keep yourself close to them. Okay, so it's kind of an upgraded version of marking. Standing tackle and slide tackle, you guys already know what that is. I would recommend you spend points on standing tackle more than slide, but it's just a preference. Dribbling. Well, this is my favorite skill tree, of course. We have agility here. Well, agility is one of the key factors when it comes to deciding how fast and smooth is your player's movement when he's changing directions on the ball, as simple as that. Balance, you guys remember when I said something about defenders bullying you on the ball and pushing you away? Well, apart from strength, what you really need is balance. If your pro has a high balance, you will feel completely different on the ball and it won't be as easy for the defenders to push you around. Then we have ball control. Always remember, ball control stats only help you control that initial touch when you receive the ball. After a touch or two, it's always the dribbling stats that matter. So your ball control stats are important, but anything around 85 to 90 is good to go. Dribbling. Well, better dribbling stats means your ability to keep the ball close is in different situations is very good. Dribbling stats only come into play after the initial touch is taken and now you are moving ahead with the ball. So having it higher is always good. Also, one tip for you, ensure to have higher dribbling stats with pace. If you have pace but less dribbling, your player will still be slower on the ball. Higher dribbling stats with higher pace is the way to go. Then we have passing. Well, passing in FIFA 22 feels very different compared to 21, especially now that the passing stats of different builds vary hugely. Sometimes your player won't be able to make the simplest of the passes. Well, let's talk about these attributes that will help you with passing, okay? So the first thing that we have here is vision. People get really confused about what this stat really does, okay? Because you can anyway see the player that you want to pass to, right? Well, it's not just that. Vision will determine how well your long passes lock to a player. You may see him, but for your pro to land a successful pass to him, he has to have a decent vision stats. Otherwise, the ball will go somewhere else no matter what his long passing stats are. Then we have crossing. Crosses are pretty powerful this year, okay? So if you're a winger, fullback, or even a midfielder who likes putting a diagonal ball through the defense, you should consider spending some of your skill points here. Higher crossing stats means better locking chances of the player you're trying to cross to. Next is short passing. This year, as you guys might have noticed, the base stats of different builds are pretty bad. For a forward, the passing stats in general isn't very good. Same goes for other builds as well, unlike 21. Even a striker had a base short passing stat of 85 to 90. Now, EA has given each of the builds only what it really should be good as per their positions, which also means you may need to spend some skill points here if your team demands a lot of X passes before making a move, especially as a CM and DM. Long passing. You can spend your skill points here, but I would only recommend this to the mids and CBs. Reason is, well, keep the ball on the ground. Long balls are not very successful against good defenders, okay? And for few long balls that you'll be playing here and there, the base stats are good enough in my opinion. Then we have curve. This is probably the only stat in the game apart from weak foot that has an effect over everything. Passing, shooting, but I wouldn't recommend any of the forwards to get it. It doesn't make your finish shots any better, rather just use the perks to have finish shot trait. Mids can use it, but I'm not sure whether you would want to, mainly because you have quite a few passing perks that will help you make good passes without having to worry about your weak foot and curve stats. Next we have shooting.
No! God, please, no!
Okay, let me just put this straight. Finishing is not bad in this game, okay? It's just that the goalkeepers are super normal and abnormal at the same time. They won't let you score from 5 yards, but will watch the ball going inside the net from 30 yards out. It's not that you have forgotten finishing, okay? It's just that the game is made in such a way. Well, never mind. This isn't a rant video, and I'm sure the first patch is going to change a lot of things anyway. Alright, I would recommend that you still spend some skill points in finishing though and be optimistic that you'll score. Now, jokes apart, a quick tip for you. There are 2 of the shooting perks, naming Hot Streak perk and Quick Reply perk, that gives you an enhanced weak foot when taking a shot inside the box. That is a small range shot, okay? But the problem is that these 2 perks are very hard to get activated. So ensure to get at least 4-star weak foot, because the Hot Streak perk only unlocks for 15 minutes after you have already scored a goal. On the other hand, Mr. Quick Reply perk only unlocks when your team has conceded a goal. So I'm sure that unless you are an individual glory hunter, you wouldn't want the second condition to be fulfilled every game. Having said that, your long shots are covered by the distant shooter perk that we'll talk about in a bit. That gives you 5-star only in long range shots, okay? Then we have free kick accuracy. I'm just going to skip this part because if you're a good free kick taker, you won't really need to spend any points in free kicks unless you want to try scoring even the long range free kicks, okay? Then we have heading accuracy. Well, funny enough, I have no idea why this exists in the skill tree now, that heading is all manual now and you can't make it assisted because the competitive mode is always on by default in pro clubs. So I guess all it does is to make your header stronger, but it surely won't help you with direction. We have shot power. Shot power works in a very similar fashion this year too. Basically, the small build will have less shot power than tall builds. However, this time you can increase it significantly higher by using skill points, okay? As compared to 21, if you are a power shot finisher, I would recommend to try and get it to 80. Then we have long shots. Well, long shots are absolutely broken again because the keepers can't seem to see the ball unless it's inside the box. But anyways, I wouldn't recommend using skill points on long shots because you have the distance shooter perk that will be more than enough to get your shots hit the target from good range. Just get the required shot bar to assist you, okay? Then we have volleys. They are good this FIFA too. I wouldn't say overpowered, but don't spend skill points to get this start specifically. If you have to get it to unlock something else more important and skill tree, go for it. Otherwise, skip it. We have penalties. Well, okay. I want to be very honest here. I'm total shit at penalties, okay? So I wouldn't dare to say anything right now, but I'm working on it, and soon enough I should have a tutorial for you guys. Weak foot. As I said, always have at least 4-star weak foot unless you have one of those 2 perks that I spoke about, or you are a midfielder or a defender, because then you can simply have passing perks that will give you an enhanced weak foot whenever you're passing. But as a forward, you must have at least 4-star. Okay. Pace. I'm quite happy with how the pace system works as FIFA, but we need to understand that pace off the ball is what you see here, okay? Pace on the ball will depend on multiple factors, including your dribbling stats and whether you are being pushed by a defender. So try and get the acceleration and sprint speed to late 80s to early 90s, okay? I'll be uploading a new video specifically on pace, how to make runs, sprinting off the ball and on the ball. So subscribe to the channel to get the notifications if you have not already. Then we have goalkeeping, the end. Okay, well, all the manual goalkeepers out there, I'm very happy for you guys, because this year there are new animations to goalkeeping and some great perks to help you guys. Any veteran of pro clubs would know exactly for how long the goalkeeping animations have been broken for manual GKs. So this year a lot has been improved and worked upon, apart from few problems here and there, but let's just hope they work on those too in the first patch. Now, I won't be going in deep in goalkeeping skill tree because, it's fairly small and simple. Plus, I need to refer to some of my friends who play GK in clubs to really understand how well each of these attributes work. I don't want to talk about anything that I don't have an experience about. Oh, well, we really did go through almost the whole skill tree. I should have named this video The Ultimate Guide to Skill Tree Attributes. Okay. Alright, let's just go to perks now. Okay, the perk system is pretty simple, okay, and I guess just to make them have a dominant effect on the gameplay, EA decided to only give us 65 skill points, so that your stats are not godly, rather some of them are below average. Now there are 26 perks in total, okay, most of the perks are pretty self-explanatory if you just read what's written there, but I did not want to be lazy, and hence I will go ahead and give you some of the best perks to use in forward, mid and defensive positions. In forward positions, I would always go for skilled dribbler perk because of the dribbling, skill moves effectiveness in terms of animations and the flair trait. I know a lot of you guys will pick active first touch, but I have tested it and it doesn't help you unless you're always getting a through ball from the mid and you're running past the CBs and fullbacks. That initial speed boost is helpful, but be aware that the defenders in this game can catch you quite easily, and if you're playing an 11v11 game, you won't get so much space against a good defensive unit to keep making runs and using that first touch, okay? Also, if the team is dropping back, this perk is mostly useless for you. Secondly, I'll go for distance shooter because of how overpowered the long shots and outside the box finish shots are, and also because it gives you the finish shot trait as well, including the 5-star weak foot for long shots. Now, the third perk is on you guys. I mean, I have personally always preferred having second wind even in FIFA 21 because I press a lot. Having that stamina boost after 75th minute really helps you because your finishing, passing, dribbling and lots of other stats get really clunky and less responsive if your stamina is finished. But the issue is, this perk is unlocked in level 23. That means you will have to grind the game a hell lot to get to it. Now, just a bonus tip, if you don't want this perk in your third slot, you can just go for the quick reply perk that I spoke about before. This perk boosts your finishing stats for 15 minutes after your team concedes a goal. It is very helpful perk because this increases your weak foot ability even when you are finishing inside the box. Just don't wish for that perk condition to be fulfilled, okay? Now, in midfield positions, the first perk you guys should pick is Precision Pass, as this boosts your short passing and long passing stats and grants you a swerve and flair traits whenever you're attempting to make a pass. Be advised though, only normal passes activate this perk, okay? Driven through balls or any other passing combinations won't activate it. In the second slot, I'll recommend choosing between 2 perks depending upon your playstyle. First is Distance Shooter again. That as a midfielder, you can take long shots once in a while and surprise the keeper and the defender. This perk will help you with that. Secondly, you can just equip the Threaded Pass perk, meaning any of your threaded through balls, lob balls, which by the way, if you didn't know, are R1 through balls, R1 lob through balls. This perk also gives you a swerve pass and flare pass trait. If you equip this perk with the Precision Pass perk in your first slot, you're basically covered as far as your passes are concerned. If you're still messing up, apologize to your teammates and head to skill games to practice your passing. You really need it. Thirdly, I'll again recommend second wind. It is too crucial to have this perk as a midfielder. If your stamina is not getting drained at the end of 75th minute, you have been either lazy or too smart with your positioning. If it's the latter, you can skip this perk and probably get the skill dribbler perk to govern the mid on the ball. In defensive positions, these includes the DMs and the backline. So for now, if you're a centre back, not DM, nor full back, listen to me very carefully. If you're a centre back, okay, your first pick should always be the last defender perk. No one else, only the centre back. Just equipping this perk will help you every time with the last defender, as the name suggests. I have seen it. It really is a very powerful perk to have, okay? Now, if you're a DM, your first pick should be physical strength perk, as this gives you strength, ball control, and few other shielding benefits. If you hold L2 while you are on the ball, it will be very difficult for anyone to shake you off the ball without a foul. Now, the second and the third perk for both the DMs and CBs are pretty much the same. Second perk should be ball winner to get the boosted tackling stats when close to a dribbler. Third perk should be precision passing. Why? Because Habibi, that's very important. Just imagine getting the ball from the attacker and trying to pass it to your teammates, only to lose it again because you don't have the swerve pass or the flare trait, neither the required accuracy to make the pass in that angle. Now, there are a few other very good perks for defenders that activate after 15 minutes of their team either conceding a goal or scoring a goal, but as a defender, you should not depend on these conditions for your perk to come alive. Hence, I named the perks without such conditions. Now, if you're a fullback, I would recommend to have the second wind trait if you overlap a lot. If you don't, then just use the threaded passing trait so that you can get your wingers through on wing either in front of you or diagonally. You can also have the pinpoint crossing perk in case your team decides to use you as the early crosser, and also the trait gives you a flare and swerve pass traits with 5-star weak foot. And at the end, I'll recommend you to use the ball winner perk to stop those nasty dribblers cutting in. Again, goalkeepers, I'm so sorry, but you guys will have to wait a bit for me to get you a proper goalkeeping guide to perks and attributes, okay? Alright, this video was long, but it was necessary because now every time you finish a game, it's going to level up your pro depending upon how well your stats are in that game. Now, you may question, isn't that exactly how FIFA 21 Pro Clubs used to work as well? Not really, because this time it's very specific and not random like 21. So now you will receive XP that helps you go higher in level, and as you climb up the levels, the game will unlock new skill points and new perks, as well as new perk slots. So better skill points management means you can do good in the game easily, helping you to climb levels faster and make your pro better. This is why I spent so much time trying to explain the attributes that you'll be spending your skill points on. Now, don't expect your base stats to go up unlike 21. In 22, skill points are the only way for you to get your stats higher as of now. Any stat that you have not applied skill points on is going to stay the same. I know it's sad. I'm not sure why EA decided to make it this way, probably because, as I said, they wanted the perks to have some dominant effect in our game, as I said before. Well, that'll be it for this video. We will be uploading new videos on Pro Clubs every week. They will guide you through everything that you need to learn or be aware of in Pro Clubs, positional builds, tactics, and lots of other tutorials that will help whether you are a player or a manager. If you found this video to be helpful, we would really appreciate a like and subscribe for more videos incoming in the future. You have a good day ahead. Take care. See ya.